Hi everyone, I hope you are well. Rosie asked me to put some tips together, some expert tips for how to take phone photos of your children. So I have a PDF guide I've put together, so I'm going to walk you through that guide just to make it a bit easier. If you want me to explain some things a little bit further, just do that in the guide itself. And let's get cracking and hear my expert tips. All right. Okay, so this is the PDF guide, and I'll get Rosie to give you a copy of this as well. So it's my 4 tips, expert tips for taking amazing phone photos of your children. I call it an essential guide because nowadays, with the number of photos that we take of our kids, it really is essential to make sure that they look really good. So let me introduce myself. Even though I'm a professional family photographer, it's no surprise that I take a lot more photos of my family using my phone than my professional camera, because my professional camera, it's big, it's I have to lug it around, it's heavy, and I'm not going to be using it as often as for my family anyway, as my phone. So anyway, I hope you enjoy these expert tips. They should help a lot in improving your photos. And what I've done is basically I've taken everything I've learned from my professional career in terms of taking pictures of children, and I've transferred it over to how to take pictures of on my phone. So it's really just about maximizing what your phone can do and taking professional looking photos on your phone. So I mentioned here, if you want more tips, including live demonstrations, feel free to join my Facebook group. It's free. I've made it a private Facebook group because people share their photos in there, and I didn't want it to be out all over the place on Facebook. So it's a private group, but you're welcome to join if you like. Okay, so let's first talk about why phone photos matter. And for me, it's not so much that they're so easy to take. Yes, that's true. But it's because they let you savor the moment. You know, those everyday moments of childhood, with your family. And I think what's really important is that these are moments that you can't replace. You know, they're the times when your child takes their first step, or when you're out visiting family. You may not have your camera with you if you have one. You may not have it with you, and it's your phone that captures these spontaneous, special moments where in this picture here, we were out for a walk. Really nice in Bushy Park, and I didn't bring my professional camera with me. I brought my phone. So that's why it's so important for me anyway. So here are my 4 tips. I wanted to show you this picture because I use each of these 4 elements to improve the photo that I wanted to take, and this is my daughter. So I've used these 4 tips here. So what it is here, it's like the same location, and on the left-hand side, my daughter was just not really as cooperative as I would like. I know all of us face this. It's on a different day. She's obviously wearing different clothes. And what I wanted was a picture on the right. And this is what I got eventually. Actually, interestingly enough, the one on the right I took before I took the one on the left. Probably you can see because her fringe is a bit longer on the left. But the one on the left didn't work. And the one on the right is when I actually tried and I used my tips and I put them into practice. And the one on the left, I was just quickly rushing through and saying, oh, let me take a picture because we come here a lot. Right? Okay. So let's do the first thing. The first thing is your phone up to the task? And for me, it doesn't really matter if you have an Android or an iPhone. I have an iPhone X. What matters is that you have a new-ish phone. So I think if your phone is more than 2 years old, you may not have a phone that's sensitive enough. And for me, phone photography in the last few years, it really has improved dramatically because the sensitivity of the sensors, and what this means is that phone photos come out better because the phones themselves are more sensitive to light. And also in newer phones, you get this portrait mode and a greater range of things you can do with editing. So test your phone to see for yourself if your phone is good enough. And this is the way I test it. Take a picture of your hand. We've got my husband's and my daughter's hand, but take a picture of your own hand. Take it outdoors. So you want 2 photos. Take one outdoors and then one indoor. So somewhere where it's not as bright as being outdoors. So you want a bright place outdoors. Take a picture of your hand and then go inside and take a picture indoors where it's not as bright as outside. Zoom into both of them and then look at the difference. So if you find that the one indoors, because it was dark, when you zoom in, If it's not that, if the photos you think, oh, it's pretty sharp, it's pretty good, then your phone is probably good enough. But if you find that the one outdoor is so much better than the one indoor, and that when you zoom in on them, the quality isn't that great, you can't really zoom in very well, then perhaps it's time now to upgrade your phone. So basically, I just say, if it's less than 2 years old, then you should be fine. So, and my phone is pretty new, and the pictures that I take from it, I had an iPhone 6 before. Oh my gosh, the difference between iPhone X and iPhone 6, unbelievable. So the second thing is I'm going to share with you my top secret for getting natural smiles and laughs. Now this is by far, I think, some of the more useful thing to know, because you have to get your child to cooperate. So over and over, parents will tell me that, the hardest things for them to do when they photograph their kids is to get natural expressions and not this kind of slightly cheesy, strange phone smile that your kids will give you. So my biggest tip here, I'm going to give you, is to get an accomplice. There are other things that you can do as well, but I'm not going to go into those. But one thing you could do is get an accomplice. So if you want your child to look at you, so this is important, when you want them to look at you with the camera and you don't want them to say cheese, okay? Do not get them to look at the camera and say cheese, because they'll look unnatural and awkward, and we all know those kind of cheesy smiles. Instead, what you want to do is to get someone to stand behind you. In this picture, my husband stood behind me, and he made a silly face. And that was it. Done. 10 seconds. Done. And, just getting an accomplice will make a difference. And when I do my professional photo shoots, if I have a child in the studio, it's never me and the child on our own. The parents are there or someone is there. So I ask the parent, go stand right behind me, crouch down low if you can. So it looks like they're looking at the camera, but actually they're looking at you and you're making them smile behind my back. You're making silly faces. It makes a world of difference. So the third thing to do is to think about your photo before you take it and compose your photo like a pro. So professional photographers, doesn't matter what type they are, of child or not, not photographers that are children, but photographers that photograph children, whether they do that or they're wedding photographers or product photography or whatever, they're obsessed with light and how to manipulate it. So you've got to do the same thing. When you take a photo, think about where the light is coming from. And if you're indoors, take photos of your children facing windows. Don't have their back towards a window. Face the window. So get your child, if you want to take a nice portrait and they're old enough. So my daughter here was, I think she was 4. No, she must have been 4 or 5. No, she was 5, yeah. Anyway, it doesn't matter. If they're about that age and they'll take instruction, get them to stand by a window, get them to look out the window, and the light is really, really nice. So, it's going to make a big difference where the light is coming from. So always think about your light when you're composing your photo. And if you're indoors, see if you can get them to stand by a window. So, the photo that I showed you earlier of the one that were in the same location, and before and after one, my daughter was in a gallery and there was lots of light coming from above us. So it didn't matter that she wasn't by a window because it was really nice soft light, but I knew that. So I knew I could position her anywhere and I can position myself relative to her wherever I wanted. So the fourth thing to do is always, always, always edit your photos if you share them or do anything with them. So, and it's surprising how little time it takes to edit a photo if you know what you're doing, and it could totally transform your photos. And you could do this straight from your phone. I don't have any special apps. I don't bother with it. I just use what's on my phone because it's everything I need, I can pretty much find on my phone. So this photo took me about 30 seconds to edit. It's not, I have to say, it's not one that, it was just an average photo of us in the park. I didn't set it up or anything. It's just, it's not that exciting of a photo, to be honest, but it's really sweet for me because it's my father-in-law with my daughter. So if we look at the top photo, what you'll see here is that they're sitting on a bench. We're in Hampton Court. Yeah, Hampton Court Palace, in their grounds, sitting there. And it's kind of a throwaway picture. I'd normally look at this and be like, oh yeah, it's fine, but I'm not going to do anything with it, because it doesn't look fantastic. But I edited the photo and now it looks much, much better. And I'll tell you what I did. The first thing was I cropped out anything that was distracting. So there's a crop feature in your phone and you can do that. You can crop, and I highly always recommend cropping your photo. I normally crop at the end, but I just wanted to show you because this was the one that was the most dramatic. So this fence area here, all around the back, all down here on the right-hand side, even on the bottom here, it was distracting, so I cropped it. And the other thing you'll notice is that I straightened the photo. So you see how the bench is kind of at an angle here, and now it's straight. So when I cropped it, I also straightened it. The second thing I did was I added a cool filter. So I added one of the filters that's on my phone, and I like adding a cool filter to it. And I don't use it to the extreme, so don't use it all the way to the 100% cool filter, otherwise it might look a little bit off. So if you go to your phone, you go to edit it, you'll see filters, and it won't say, it might say cool. Mine does actually say cool on it. And it doesn't say cool because it's kind of cool. It says cool because it means it's added blue to your picture. And what it's doing is it's balancing out the yellow tint. So photos will tend to always have a yellow tint to them, and a cool filter balances out the yellow tint. Because they're outside, you can see the sun is out here. It's really quite yellow, and you don't often notice it until you've added the cool filter and you're like, oh yeah, his face has gone from orange to like a natural pinky color, you know, when you look at someone's face. And then the third thing, yeah, I mentioned here, I straightened the bench. Sorry, I've said that out of order. So by using a filter, by straightening the bench, and by cropping, I've turned a photo that was just quite average to something that was nicer and one that I would be happy to share. So always edit your photos, and these are 3 things that you can always do every time. Right, that's it. That was very quick. If you do want to learn more, I do have courses. I won't go into too much detail about it. If you could look at the link, or just go through this PDF and just take a look at what these things are. But if you do want to join, yeah, that'd be great. But hope you found this quite useful for you. There are a lot of things you can learn about taking phone photos of your children, but those 4 things are a very, very good starting point. And I know I've whizzed through it, but again, I think they're very useful. So make sure that your phone is up to date. Make sure you know where the light is coming from when you're taking pictures of your children. And if you're by a window, bring them close to the window as possible. Make sure their back isn't to the source of the light. Get an accomplice when you want to get natural smiles from your children. And the 4th one is always edit your photos. Use the editing features already on your phone. Don't rely too heavily on third-party apps. Just try to use what's on your phone, and crop your image. Add a filter if you want to get rid of any kind of yellow tint that it has. Don't use it to the full extent. You can, on my phone it's possible to bring down the filter and straighten your image if it's crooked. That's about it. All right, I hope you enjoyed it, and have a nice day. Bye.